On today's episode of Bench Points, we're going to cover a Big 12 preview. We're going to talk about those that may be the chosen ones or maybe ones that might go straight to the CBI. I'm sure each of you have a thought in mind of who those teams might be, but if you don't, you should take our opinion seriously because you have no opinion otherwise. Sam was called up due to an injury from the starting five, so he is covering in the Canadian League. I believe it's Canadian Church League, I think is what they call it. He's elevated himself from the intramural squad, and he is now a part of a massive mega church in Canada and playing 5-on-5 with them, trying to prevent injury from himself or others.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But Sam should be back with us next week. We'll be back in full strength so the bench can be balanced once again. Jake and I are going to hold it down for today as we talk about the Big 12. And I think there's plenty of room to have plenty of discussion about a league that very few people care about, but they need to. Because there is more talent than people like to give it credit for, but it's not the same from the past. So I might have just gotten in a shot there or two. But, Jake, first and foremost, before we get to the Big 12, bench behavior for this week.
I got two of them. I got
some good ones, I bet.
Yeah, I got to make up for Sam not being here. We're gonna start with the most this dumbest one. Memphis, what are you doing? You're paying softball players, giving them test answers, and you're still not winning. And what the heck is a $30,000 fine do nowadays? That's absolutely pointless, but that's beside the point. That's just showing how toothless the NCAA is.
It's an offensive lineman that's not going to get a paycheck.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, Penny Hart, you're cheating to get the wrong guy. At least Cal was there when he was cheating. They were winning, and they got Derrick Rose, somebody to take the ACT for Derrick Rose.
Yep.
And he won games. You're barely making it to the tournament. It's questionable all year, and then you win one, maybe two games, and you're out. That doesn't seem like a great use of the money you're paid those softball players. And how do you get caught paying players nowadays? Everything's legal. How do you get caught? That's another thing. Good God, how foolish is this? If you've ever heard me talk about it before, not a fan of Penny Hardaway as a coach.
Neither am I.
I don't think he's that great. I think he lives in a conference that allows him to not care about the first half of the year, show up in the second half, and go. I mean, the Wiseman incident was all you really needed to know about
1,000%.
Holy crap, how do you fumble that hard and now that players are eligible to be paid and you're still getting caught cheating? This is ridiculous.
He is, and apparently there's no leadership on that team and the organization to let that happen.
He quit last year, right? Or fired, he quit, and all that. A week or two before the season. It's crazy.
And it's weird too. And that's I actually hadn't even thought about it from that perspective of being okay. You're literally, this is the Wild West of college athletics, and you still find a way to get fined. That's a special kind of, I don't want to say stupid, but unintelligent.
Look, I mean, Memphis avoids Tennessee like the plague because they don't want Tennessee to have any sort of recruiting foothold in that city, and yet they're supposed to be the basketball hotbed of Tennessee, and the University of Tennessee is dominating all basketball thing. Memphis is not what they were back to when Cal and before that. They are nowhere near that. They're very mediocre, and this just proves they're cheating to be mediocre.
And maybe they're only, no offense to the rest of the Memphis basketball staff, but if Nolan Smith takes his job with TSU, that's a huge loss for them and their support, because I have a feeling Nolan Smith has carried a lot of that basketball development, just the kind of player that he is and what he's already done, and who he's brought in, who's tied to, which the whole recruiting thing of so-and-so helped bring in this person. I don't buy that so much, but Nolan Smith leaving is going to be a big hit.
Yeah, I think that's a big loss to Memphis staff if he does that. It's great for Tennessee State. As a Duke fan and met Nolan several times, very, very good guy, incredible player. He won a championship. I think he was on the bench for another one at Duke. He's got the experience. I think he will be a great coach. I think Shire getting the job is what sent him to he's okay, well, my move is because he went to Louisville about the same time that happened, and then spent 1 or 2 years there. Unfortunately, I think he was tied to Kenny Payne. And
I think that's also the truth. I didn't put that together until earlier today when I was looking that up. But yes,
yeah. So he got out there and went to Memphis. So this is not where I want to be, and I hope he lands at Tennessee State. That'll be great.
I hope so too. I think that'd be great for them. He'd be a great ad, but again, that's just another loss to Memphis. Maybe they should have paid him a little more to keep him around.
Then, my second one here. Look, we have backed Caitlin Clark a lot so far in this first 4 or 5 episodes we've had.
I thought this was coming.
Come on, girl. Look, everybody that had your back is ducking their heads now. You calling the ref over, wagging your little finger, going full Karen on everybody, and then showing you're going to call and tattle on him. Like, it does not matter how bad or how right that call was. I don't even know what the call was that she was mad about. It doesn't matter if how hard they beat on you all game and you weren't getting nothing. You let the coach or some player that sits the bench or fans and everybody else take care of and like all the sports commentators take care of the ref. You don't do that number. I don't care what's wrong, because now that is just like, you've got the reputation of being arrogant and entitled from Iowa, and like there's refs there that talked about it, and that's been your main detractor or whatever here in the WNBA. And who did you just prove it? You got a lot of work to do, because that clip is going to live forever.
That's exactly right.
And as bad as she's playing on the road this year, and then got hurt and all this, I think she's sitting it out the next couple game or two. You better perform in the playoffs, otherwise all you're going to see is that clip. It doesn't matter if you go for 90 in the next 2 games. That's the clip you're going to see.
It's like somebody. I get her frustration. I will empathize with that, but you've got to be if you're a legend, you got to act like one. Like if your poor performance. You know what? I'll backtrack that. If she was having the best year yet, and she had that altercation. Okay, I could it almost would feel better to me, but it almost feels like she's blaming like her frustration and taking it out on an official because of how they're not calling the game. That to me is very distasteful, and I know that's not what she set out to do. I know that. But come on,
that's what happened.
But you know better. You make millions of dollars. You know better. And has she apologized for this or anything? Has she said anything about it?
I haven't seen anything.
I haven't either. Call in if you've heard if she's apologized.
Yeah, we'll put the number on the screen.
That's right.
But you know what? She's a superstar among superstars right now in the WNBA. But she's not that level of superstar where she can get away with what like LeBron does and stuff. Like you're not there yet. Like you've got a lot of work to do. You've got to win some championships. You've got. It's your second year in the league. You've got to run. You've got to absolutely deal with some of this, and you've got to be rise above it. And she didn't, and it's going to come back to haunt her because. Everything about the WNBA, especially dealing with her, gets played on social media, takes off on a totally different turn, and that's going to suck. Because, there's other superstars in this league, too, that, Reese is having a good year. Bucher's is showing up.
Yep.
Chelsea, the girl out in Seattle, her name starts with an I, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But, you're not that far above them where you can get away with trying to boss the refs around, that's just going to end poorly for her.
I'll give her this, though. Some may say, at least she tells them straightforward. It's not in a press conference, like a lot of people, where they get asked about the officiating after every game. And then that one time where they get some under their skin and they kind of sound off about them. She goes right to the source and tells them how she feels about it. Obviously,
This is we've got that pine in my behind segment. We're just going to jump into that too because this drives me nuts. Why are refs such a freaking protected? You're fined if you talk sideways about them at all, anywhere at any level. You can any reporter, anybody can bash any player for how they're playing. Doesn't matter the level. I've seen it as low as high school. Like on the TV, they'll talk about the coaches or players playing bad. But God forbid we mention a ref as being terrible. I couldn't. It took something like Teddy Valentine turning his back on a player for people on TV and writers to say something about him. That guy was a terrible ref. And not because every call he made was bad, but he made sure to make a call where he got all the camera attention every time. There's several refs out there like that, probably at all levels, but I know most of them from college basketball. Why do we protect them? Why can't somebody go up to the podium and be like, man, this so-and-so killed us tonight because he couldn't see the game for nothing? I don't understand why they're a protected class. They're getting paid. They were even protected before players were getting paid. So they were getting paid. Why shouldn't people be able to go at them? I don't get that whatsoever.
I feel like officials are the nuns of college basketball. You can't you want to believe that they're that they're these holier than thou, they're these great sovereign people, but they're also the ones that are going to slap your wrist with a ruler. You hear about these different stories from Catholic school and things like that. But what gives them this opportunity to insert themselves in a game, which they do? To me, the fact that there are officials that we know their names, that's a problem. An official, you should never know an official's name. If you're the average fan, you should not know an official's name. If you do, that's because that official has inserted themselves in so many games, they become a feature, not an actual support for the game. And that's the biggest thing for me that's very frustrating when it comes to, what's the, picture his face. Oh my gosh.
Pat Adams?
Pat Adams. Perfect example. Loves to be in the center of attention. Loves to be that dramatic guy that's going this direction and that direction. We should never know their names. Bottom line
It
is,
must have hurt him and Teddy Valentine that they keep marking back how you can call a charge, because they can no longer sprint out to half court to point the other way now when it should be a block.
Yeah.
They can't do that anymore because it's just that call's not existent anymore.
Exactly. Well, and that's a great example too, because you can't call that call consistently anymore because it's not defined anymore. It's just completely subjective mindset. But that's a different take. For the official standpoint, why they're so protected, I know it's because if you speak out against them, you're going to get fined. But also, these are kids out there getting absolutely scrutinized, but it's okay. Now they're making money, so now maybe you can allow them to have a little bit more critique. But come on, the officials, they can get away with anything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's no accountability whatsoever. I think that's a great take. I'm with you on that 100%. I just think that I would like to see, and I wish there were more penalties for poor officiating, like for them to have a fine. But then again, that's that subjective nature. But part of me thinks that if they make it too hard on them, we're not going to have any kind of officials, and it's all going to be done by, I don't know, taking over everything else. So why not let it observe a game and make it determine what's a foul and what's not, or if they touched out of bounds or not, if their foot was on the line,
Yeah. I don't know. That's one of those things that just always drove me up a wall. Like, we can't so much as mention a crossword about a ref in a press conference or something. And then if they come back and admit they blow the call, which has happened many a times. Like, I know those guys aren't perfect, not expecting them to be perfect, but like all they have to do is, oops, my bad. And it doesn't, like, even though it's the most obvious call in the world and could have major downstream effects for a team, they get an apology and nothing else happens. Like, it's
the one of the Jim Joyce is the one that I think of a lot for baseball. Yeah. He did come out and it was it Galarraga?
Yeah,
Armando Galarraga, whatever. Yeah. Is that right?
Detroit. Yep. I know the last name's right.
Because when that situation, when he was almost there to have a no hitter.
It was a perfect game, wasn't it?
Wait, it was a perfect game. God, that's even worse. Also, that was 2010, by the way. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
He finally retired last year.
But I remember after that incident, he came out and was just like he was just, I don't think he was ever the same after that.
But it doesn't matter how many times he apologized. You can't give Galarraga his perfect game back that
nope.
He just stole from him. Maybe we should start this. A top 25 poll for refs, but make it like the bottom 25 so we can just blast them.
Right. Yeah, and then they have to, what is it, like when you move up, like in soccer?
Yeah, relegate,
yeah. Like they have to relegate themselves to be in a top spot. But anyway, enough about those jokers. We got enough joking around to do here on the bench. Now, if you're listening, follow us on our social media networks. That sounds really corny.
TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
That's right.
Follow us on our socials. Jake, what are our handles? Because I am
some version of bench points or bench dot points, something like that. We're the only one out there.
Yep.
Just find us. You'll recognize one of our faces real quick.
Yes.
At least 17 of you will.
That's right. Hey, if there's 18 of you, bless you. That'd be awesome. But yeah, follow us on our socials so we can engage with you, learn from you. We're on the bench for a reason. So if you can educate us when we need it, let us know. We still probably won't agree with you, but we're definitely going to listen. And we're probably going to talk about you on the podcast, but we're not going to talk about you behind your back. Big 12. You ready to get into this, Jake?
I'm sad Sam's not here for this.
I am too.
Me and him have about the same opinion of Kansas, and I will try to carry that burden of what we think of Kansas when we get there, but I'm just sad that he's not here for it.
But who do you want to? I mean, we can start with Kansas, but I don't think they're one of the chosen ones for this year. I think for the top tier, I would not have Kansas in that top tier. Would you agree?
No, I don't have them there at all.
Yeah.
I think that top tier is 2.5 teams, with Houston clearly there, BYU most likely there, and then maybe Arizona if you squint your eyes hard enough.
I think the other half of that third would be Iowa State.
Yeah. I went back and forth on if I was going to put them there or not. I just didn't like what they really brought in that much, and I liked what Arizona brought in. That was the difference, because both those teams are in relatively the same spot.
Right. So for Houston, I mean, I think it's safe to say they're contenders again.
Yeah.
I think they're very good.
Final four. This team is loaded.
They have to go to the Final Four. They have to. This is such a dream of a team. I'm genuinely excited about watching their season.
Yeah. I mean, giving Samson this kind of talent is not fair. It's just mean, and like the rest of the Big 12 has to be cursing everything. That one, he brought back Uzan, Sharp, and Tugler. He adds a top 3 recruiting class depending on what you look at, and I love this Chris Sinek Jr. guy.
Dude, I can't wait.
I mean, he's 6'10" and a decent enough jump shot. You have to respect it. But my favorite part about his game, and this is really a thing that is missing in most places, is he has a left hand or an offhand that he uses and is not scared of. As a big guy, to be able to post up on either block is massive. But they've got the 2 other top tier freshmen too. I don't want to skip over them. We got Harwell and Flemings, but
right.
Sinek is the star of the class. Harwell, man, I hope it plays out, because he's got all the potential in the world. But coming off that ACL injury, I don't want to say Harry Giles, but I mean that's kind of what happened there. You had an old player have knee injuries and then gets another knee injury as soon as he starts practicing and whatnot at Duke, and it's just never the same. I think he's already out of the league, and that's sad to see. But everybody knows about Sinek. That's not a surprise. Flemings, though, I think he could be the best player on this Houston team, or best is the wrong word.
I think he's the X factor.
Yeah, like the most important player of this team, because he's absolutely fantastic and dominant in the open floor, can get really fast, and that's what Samson wants to do. They want to pressure, run, and score in quick bursts, and then turn around and guard you right again and make you waste time while they score quick. And he is a perfect point guard put there. I mean, he lets Uzan and Sharp get off the ball. If he gets that jump shot going, it's going to be deadly. And unfortunately for the rest of the Big 12, I see a good chance of that happening, because Samson's such a great coach. And their schedule plays out nicely for the most part. Right?
Yeah, it's not bad.
They're double-ups, Baylor, Cincy, and Texas Tech. Nobody you're truly, really scared of. Going to Texas Tech is always hard, but the fact that you also get them at home, you can split with them, and it's not bad. They do have to go to BYU, Iowa State, and Kansas, though, so it's not great that none of those are at home, but I don't know that they'll have not much of an issue with any of those. But they do get Arizona at home, and the rest of the Big 12 comes to visit. So they're dodging a bullet by not having to go like to West Virginia or something like that, where you drop a game on the road, because West Virginia is having the night of their life at home. So they get to avoid all that. Any road loss they have in conference is probably going to be considered a fairly decent loss. Cincinnati is different.
Yeah.
But if you drop at Baylor or Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State, or Kansas, nobody's going to look at you sideways.
Well, and I think too, I wanted to second something you said about, is it Snack?
I don't know.
What did you say?
Do not ask me pronunciation things.
I know. That's from Bob. I mean, I think that's the way it's
CNAC.
But because I've heard like the clips and things I've watched over the past, I mean, I feel like I've been watching this kid for like a year. Like just the clips and stuff. Like, everybody says it different. But anyway, I'm a prophet for the big man. It's missing from the game, and it's fading away, and it should never fade away. I think it's the crux of all the greatness of basketball centers around the big man. And this guy, I'm so excited to watch play, to really get in there and be physical, because I don't think there's a single person that can match him in this conference. I can't think of somebody that can even. They're going to have to double down on him, but then that's just going to allow for the outside to be freed up. Sharp's a pure shooter. Uzan has gotten better every freaking year. I mean, every year. His stats is one of the most steep trajectory of improvements that you can see in a player. From a coaching standpoint, that's a dream.
Oh, yeah.
And he's ready for a shot. Like, he's ready to make a name for himself. So, yeah. I mean, I'm very excited about this Houston team. I'm pretty big on it.
Well, the thing that the defensive burden is off him, too, because I mean, Tugler has almost as much offensive skill as I do, but he's an incredible defensive player, and that's where he earns his minutes, especially on the any Samson coach team. I think he's a dream player for Samson. But you had Senek with him, and now he can just kind of float in the lane, block the shots he needs to block. He can he'll guard a big guy, but it won't have to be the toughest one, and so which is great for freshmen because adjusting to this level keeps him out of, especially big guys. Big guys have trouble because they want to block every shot. So it keeps him out of foul trouble on the floor more. This team is built well. Samson added the right players at the right spots, brought the right ones back. I mean, talking Uzan back from the draft because there was some draft buzz flowing to him. That was incredible.
And good on him to stay.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting paid more. Like, where he's going to be drafted at, he's getting paid more. So it's act like he's making some noble decision.
I think he'd rather compete where he's competing now instead of against Bronny in the summer league. No offense, Bronny. Sorry, love you, dude. Hang in there. Speaking of dominant freshmen, let's go right into BYU. Oh, AJ.
Yeah, this team, the first thing, like when I was going through and doing all my research or whatever, so much expectations feels like this team has. And AJ is not even the number one player in the class most places. But you hear about him all the time, how great he is. I mean, Young, absolutely great job with I guess we'll call it recruiting because he grabbed the portal and he grabbed Stanton, who should be a very nice piece of this team. And is a project player on the offensive end, has next to no offensive game, but is an incredible shot blocker, already shows impeccable timing for that, which would be do wonders for this BYU team. He brings in Robert Wright, the third from Baylor, to run as point guard. I think there won't be any offensive burden put on Robert Wright other than to pass the ball around to AJ and Saunders. That's where most of your scoring is going to happen. And then they also brought in Kennard Davis, who's going to make up any other scoring that those two guys drop. So he's got no worries there. I mean, this guy beat out
Nikita.
Yeah, he beat out Jeremy Roach at Baylor for the starting point guard job. And Jeremy Roach was a 4-year starter at Duke and won a championship. So, like, it's not like he just beat some random veteran. He beat a top-tier veteran out for the job and did a very good job with it. Led the team in assists, ran the team. Jump shot wasn't going in like it should, but I think that's fixable. Also, not as much of a scoring burden is going to be placed on him because the first half of the year, I think he ran out of legs because most NBA-ready freshmen, you don't see this happening, but all the guys that are not like NBA ready, they hit a wall about midway through February because it's just more games than they've ever played at a higher level than they've ever played against tougher competition. And I think that's what happened to him in those big games towards the end of the year where his jump shot was off. Because if you look at the beginning of the year, he was doing very well up through January and then the first part of February, and then it just fell off a cliff. So I don't add another off season and a full year. I think he's going to be in for a very, very, very big year and a very impactful piece.
Well, I think you're talking about the half of the year. I feel like this BYU team, if they can be serviceable until the beginning of the year in January. If they could stay consistent, win some solid games, play pretty well, I think they're going to hit their stride later on. I think that I feel like it's really hard to have that much weight put on a freshman, especially I'm not so sure that if he would have committed to a blue blood, there would be this much excitement around AJ. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he committed to BYU. That's completely.
Have you seen him play?
Honestly, mate, I've watched some, but it's not. I guess coming off of a Cooper Flag kind of player.
I think if I remember correctly, Cooper and him were in the same class, and he was rated above Cooper.
Really?
For a good minute.
Interesting.
They may not have finished that way.
Yeah.
I can't totally remember. But, remember, Cooper reclassified to be last year.
Right. Good point. I did not think that's a good point.
I mean, it's working out for Cooper. I mean, they already shut him down in the league. So, I think he made all the right decisions.
The Summer League has been fire, by the way. I have loved it. It's been I've never been this into a Summer League, ever. But
it does not get enough credit. Summer League is fun to watch. You've got guys fighting for jobs, so like they care every game.
And especially this class of guys, there's so many like really good players. There's a few all-stars, but there's also a lot of those that are sneaky that you never would have thought of them being an all-star, and they're going to be an all-star in 5 years minimum. But back to BYU, I think that it's pretty. I think they're the biggest wild card, but golly, they could cash out pretty well this year to bet on them. I mean,
do you think Young is nervous at all, like job wise? Because there's a lot of money floated into this team, and Pope just left, so he stepped up, and there's going to be what's his face, the Jazz owner is willing to sink this kind of money into BYU's basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Your contract is not safe, no matter what the buyout is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do well and he invested this much, if this goes bad, real bad, like first weekend exit, does he start feeling real uncomfortable?
I mean, when you start talking about people's tithe money, that's when things get a little shaky, which is what these folks are feeling. I feel like for him, it's more of the pressure of the opportunity that's in front of him. I think he would have to. He would have to be a absolute colossal meltdown for it to be bad and for him to be on the hot seat this year. But next year, if he has let's say they somewhat kind of middle of the road expectations. I mean, they have to make the tournament. They're going to have to beat a few they have to be at the top of the Big 12 at least a little bit, at least in the top 3, maybe 4. I'll say 4 respectively. I think the following year, because how much more can BYU actually contribute and put into the program?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's all chips on the table. So it's like,
so
I don't think he gets fired this year. I'm just saying maybe if this year goes bad, ooh boy. So I think there's a lot of pressure there.
Maybe he'll even go to Coach Villanova.
I don't think Willard's getting fired that quick, but
we'll see.
I mean, his schedule isn't the greatest, but it's far from the worst setup. I mean, they get Houston and Iowa State at home, but they double up with Arizona and Texas Tech. And going to Utah is never fun. I mean, they double up with Utah, but getting Arizona and Texas Tech twice, and then Houston and Iowa State, that's tough. But it's not the worst setup in the world because at least Houston and Iowa State are at home. At least you're not going on the road to them. But it's
true.
I don't know. There's a lot of chances to screw up there. You're depending on a lot of guys that haven't been the guy on the team yet. AJ and Saunders and I don't know, Robert Wright. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
I like Kebakita.
Yeah, he's incredible too.
I think he's such a stud, and he's a little small, but gosh, he's 6'8", but he plays like he's 6'10". I mean, he plays big. He's strong as all get out. He's athletic. He's a force. I think him and Sinak could have that same sort of presence where you can kind of defensively kind of pin people towards them, and there's nowhere for them to go because I mean they're gonna be all over them either way. Obviously, Sinak is a lot bigger, has that wingspan. But Kebakita will body you, and he will make you hurt the next day.
Which is what you want out of a big guy. So
yeah.
On a team that's going to be as guard oriented as the BYU, you need some.
Every time a shot goes up, that dude's going to put a butt in the gut and get down there and go get the ball. He wants it more than anybody else on the floor. Like that's somebody. I think that. For that BYU team specifically, to be able to get those second chance points and to be able to kick it back out and have scoring opportunities, huge. And that's a way that a team can get away from it real quick.
Yeah, and that's why I like Stanton as a nice piece to bring in because Kita's not the greatest shot blocker in the world, but you put this guy behind him, and now you've got weak side help that can absolutely erase almost any layup.
No doubt about it. Even in a zone, even nerdy here, but like that, even in a zone perspective, if you start dropping back, that spreads you out even more because there's not a single player that's going to go on his side. Like they don't want people don't want that physicality anymore. Those players are intimidated by those kinds of guys. Nobody's going to come to his side, so he's going to be there for that weak side rebound every single time, and he's probably going to get it more times than not. So we'll see. BYU's got some big shoes to fill. And they've kind of created this reputation for themselves with the splash they made in the season or in the tournament last year, especially Richie Saunders kind of went off. I mean, he had a really nice, quite tasty postseason.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many times did you hear like his grandfather invented the tater tot?
Oh my
That was
gosh.
driving me. I was like, okay, I'm fine. It's great.
If that was a drinking game, we would all be, I mean,
I wouldn't have seen the
coherent. But now you mentioned a team that, and we talked about it there kind of at the beginning, but I think the next tier.
Hold on, I've got Arizona as a contender. No, hold on, as a chosen one. I've got them up there.
Okay, I disagree, but go ahead.
That's fine. We can hash that out. I think this recruiting class is not given enough love because of what you've got at Houston and BYU. Kobe Payton and Burris are fantastic players. Pete might be my favorite player in this class to watch because he's not super athletic, but he's an incredibly high IQ player, and he's physical, and he uses both hands. He's becoming a great passer, and he thrives in that mid-post range. If that three-point shot comes along, he will be a killer. But you're going to see a theme here. Burris, I thought he was coming to Tennessee. I was all for him.
I know.
Got real excited. Goes to Arizona. He's very similar setup to Pete, but he leans more the point guard role than him. Those guys are big wings guards. So Burris is more of a point guard, but he's got to get that three ball going. But his handles and his mid range game make up for it. But the guy that makes it special, though, is, I don't know how to say his name. I'm going to take a guess. Artistode. He's a big guard. 6'8",
yes.
Like big, thick guy. And he's a top tier defender. He's a project player, but no real offensive game. I think I've got about as much offensive game as he does at this moment. But Lloyd excels at coaching offense. That's where his teams are fantastic. So that's going to be fixable. Adding that guy in, make this team very, very good. The only down part of this class, and nothing against the kid, but Bryce James is going to make Arizona almost unwatchable because all we're going to hear about, it's like trying to watch Bronny at USC. All you're going to hear about is dad and his brother and all that. It's going to make it near unwatchable, but Arizona plays fun basketball, so maybe that'll save it. But this team is put together really well. Bradley at the point, the freshman wings. You've got Awaka down low, too, to be your enforcer. But they've got to have Krivas step up. Right?
100%.
He's 7'2". Everybody else on the team is 6'8" or shorter. So he has to step up. If he steps up and they get that defense right, this team has a shot at the title. But if he doesn't step up and Lloyd's defensive issues come back to bite him that he has on most teams, you're looking at a very disappointing year.
Well, my boy Toby Awaka.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
Yep.
Thank you, Jonas Adu, for making us lose Toby Awaka. I blame you, sir, for that.
I do too, 100%.
Because if your indecisiveness and you chasing Calipari's tail, that's the reason why Toby Awaka is not still wearing an orange uniform. So don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you, my friend. But Toby Awaka, I love the guy. Always have. Always will. An absolute brute force.
He's a throwback player. Throwback.
Oh, and coachable. The dude that, and honestly, I think he doesn't have as much of an opportunity to shine of his basketball IQ, but the dude is smart. I think he plays very smart basketball. He's very intentional, and he will absolutely back up his teammate. I mean, what was it when Nate Oates went and put a hands on a player? There was that meme that went out where they're like, if
Awaka looked like he was ready to rip his head off.
Yeah. Like he'd rip him limb from limb. I mean, that's the kind of guy that he is. I love that kid to death, and so I always want him to do well. But I'm not so certain that I think Arizona, for them to be getting the respect and the attention for me, I need to see a splash coming out of the gate. I need them to come out hot because I don't know that they have enough to be able to come back to really generate more heat. I was talking about BYU. I feel like they've got some flash in the pan to come on later in the season. I don't know that Arizona has that, but Lloyd, he has to make some adjustments.
Yeah, he gets burnt. Barnes has had his number. Tennessee beat him with a much, much less talented team.
Mm-hmm.
It's because the guy struggles on very similar to what we said about Creighton. An amazing offensive coach. Plays a fun style of basketball. The defense,
the Creighton example is great.
And
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, you're good. That's my biggest fear of this Arizona team is the defense doesn't come around. Krivas doesn't step up. They don't really have a lot of rim protection, and Awaka is going to be in foul trouble because he's earned the reputation. Earned it a little bit, but also because he's a throwback player. Some stuff gets called that shouldn't necessarily get called, and so he gets in a lot of foul trouble. And the Vassar guy went to North Carolina, or was it North Carolina or Virginia? One of the two. He went to the ACC.
Virginia.
And I just scares me, but I think they've definitely can get in that run and gun game. They can give teams fits, and that's why I put him up there, because it's such a hard style to adjust to.
Oh no, actually I was wrong. So he did go to North Carolina. That's right. Oh yeah, we talked about him. That's right.
Don't question my basketball knowledge. Now, come on.
I know it. What am I doing? Again, that's why I'm on the far end of the bench. I was thinking about this earlier. For Arizona, do you think for their fan base, I think they are underrated for their basketball knowledge.
Yeah.
They've seen a lot of great basketball.
Oh, I mean, Arizona is a fantastic basketball institution. Like, it doesn't. The issue with the way time zones work and everything is they play majority of especially when they was in the Pac-12, they're playing out like at midnight, East Coast team. Like, it hurts them in a lot of different ways with, like, player voting and things like that, because some of these writers that claim to be basketball writers don't stay up. Like, it happens with football too. Don't stay up late enough to watch the games. And I mean, Lute Olson being there was incredible.
That's what I was about to say.
There was the Derek Williams team that absolutely just blew the doors off Duke in the second round or Sweet 16, one of the two.
Gilbert.
Yeah, and that also had Richard Jefferson and a few other, like, they've had fantastic basketball. Their fan base travels well. They're very fun to watch basketball games with because they're very knowledgeable and they're not jerks. Like, it's fun to compete with them because they're not being jerks about it, but
right.
It's always good to go against some good competition, and that's typically Arizona.
If you're an Arizona fan, comment and let us know what your expectation is for Arizona this year. I'm genuinely curious of what that is. To me, this team is Sweet 16 or bust. And maybe, I could maybe even say the Elite Eight, but I feel way more confident. I would put money on a Sweet 16 bet, or as Sam would say, I'd wear their jersey. I'd wear so-and-so's jersey if that happens. But I don't want to talk bad about the first, he's a starter now, so or for at least 1 week. We all know he's probably going to be back here next week.
Yeah, that's not.
But I think for Arizona fans, I really would like to know, genuinely, what is the bust? Like, what is your highest expectation? What do you expect from this team? I feel pretty strong about that Sweet 16 standpoint. If it's anything less than that, I think there's going to have to be some changes on the coaching staff, and there's going to have to be some pretty big pivots and maybe a little bit more money in the NIL area. I mean, I feel like you just don't hear a lot of. I mean, they got Bryce James, but I think that's.
Do you think he needed NIL money?
I was about to say, I think he probably already drives a pretty nice car to campus.
Stays on campus.
But what do you think? What do you think, though?
Yeah, Sweet 16 feels right. I think they've got potential to do something special, get to the four. I think they've also I could see them losing in the second round very easily too. I do think they are very much a low floor, high ceiling team because I just don't trust in the defense they play in. Like, this is the first time we've previewed a conference that's like good. They've got a very strong middle too, and not just a top end and then garbage behind it. Like, you've got a very, very star-studded top team and a top tier, and then the middle is loaded up with a lot of good talent. There's trash, but there's trash in every conference. This one, Big 12 is going to be a slog, and it typically is. Because like going to Manhattan doesn't matter how good Kansas State is. That's just a tough trip, and then it's a tough trip out to Texas Tech if you have to go there. Because I mean, there's nothing in Lubbock, and it's just hard to get to, and it's just a lot.
Yeah, every conference has a few Arkansas. You know what I mean? So no, I agree with that 100%. And I can't let Arizona be held in that high regard without mentioning Iowa State also, but. For me, Iowa State is my last top contender, like even close of being in that area, and that might even honestly, I don't know that I have enough to defend it being a top tier. I respect what they do, and they don't have a star power necessarily. I mean, I think Joshua Jefferson, he's after he left St. Mary's and got there. I mean, he had a big season last year, but how much will he actually progress? I don't know. I haven't read a bunch about it. I haven't seen a lot of beats about him, but I think the last thing I saw about him, he had like a wrist injury. Hopefully that's something that can be done by the beginning of the year.
Should be.
Those can be kind of fickle.
Yeah, well, they return a lot of decent players. There's not a ton of additions to this team. Like, they were a very good team last year. They'll be a very good team this year. I just don't see the star power to pull them up to that next tier, right? Like, if we're talking about contenders with a chance to be in the Final Four, I think I would be shocked if Iowa State was there. I'd be kind of stunned if they made it to the 8-2. Not crazy, but I don't see enough there offensively. Osberger, great coach. They've got a very talented team. Just don't see them being in that tier of teams. I think they are right on the edge of it. You know, if somebody like Jefferson or anybody else on that team, Mamovich or whatever, just absolutely takes off and takes a step to the next level, then that could very easily pull them up. I just don't see it happening is where I'm at.
Would you think... I had this thought, and I debated on saying it on here, but I'm just going to say it anyway. We have nothing to lose. But I feel like Iowa State is like a poor man's Tennessee in some ways, where they're that heavy defense, offense. When it's on, they'll be hot, but then most of the time it's cold. But their defense, they'll buckle you down. They'll pin you to the sideline, and they will guard you right up in your face the entire game.
Yeah, I think that's a great comparison. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that is... I wouldn't go so much to poor man's Tennessee. I think Tennessee West.
Yeah, there we go.
But like it's a very similar makeup, a very similar style, and I kind of like Otzelbinger's offense better than I like Barnes and the way he does it. But yeah, this would remind me of some Tennessee teams that kind of the Grant Williams team. Not everybody, that 2019 run, not a lot of people saw how good that team was going to be because, like, Bone had a great year.
Yeah.
What's his name? Hurt his shoulder, 3-point shooter, came off the bench, had a great year. Then you also had Admiral Schofield, and the team had some talent, and Kyle
Phillips.
They just didn't see it coming, and then they make a run and get cheated out of an Elite Eight appearance.
Yeah.
Sam agrees that Carson Edwards did not get fouled. Let's not be.
That says a lot. That's a great point.
Carson Edwards agrees. If you watch the press conference when they asked him about it, he kind of goes.
Yeah, when I saw, I remember watching that clip, and I was like, part of me wanted to hate him more, but part of it was like, you know what, I kind of respect it. It's just part of the game.
Well, you can't hate Carson Edwards. I mean, that dude carried that team for a long time. It was impressive, and I think he was
pesky.
I think he was 6 foot in the program, and that was he was 6 foot.
Oh God, and just a force. And he honestly, if it wasn't for their derailing of Tennessee, I probably would be a way bigger fan of his. But he just was just could not get out of our way. So for Iowa State, I think we're, I don't know. I have a little bit higher hope, and I'll be honest with you, it's not even. I don't even know. I have facts to back it up. It's just my gut.
That's right.
I think Josh Jefferson has a chance to really kind of build on the year that he had last year. Like I said before, I think that he could, if he sets the tone for everyone else, I think it's up to him. It's kind of like I know we made a lot of Tennessee references here, but I feel like he's like a Triple J that Tennessee had, where it was that constant person, that good mainstay, solid guy people look to, puts in solid minutes, but it's not flashy. He'll have a quiet 25 on you.
Yeah.
Like you'll go in at game, how in the hell did you let him score 31 points?
Yeah. I agree. I would say if somebody takes a little bit of star role here, I think they very well could jump up. But I think we saw the top of everybody's game last year. I don't see it going up too much farther.
Yeah, we'll see. They'll be a fun one to watch, and potentially be a good one to cash in on some opportunities on the right weekend. Might be good to throw them in, at the last leg of a parlay to get a DraftKings bet.
Especially in Ames,
100%. Now, I'm going to assume that in this tier, which is like the pretenders, that has the pretender syndrome, I think there's one that holds this crown completely, and that's the Kansas Jayhawks. So, Jake, you've been preparing for this all week. You've been waiting for this moment. I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let you absolutely destroy the the Kansas Jayhawks.
I cannot stand Kansas. Part of it is because they win and they're good. A lot of part of it is I think Bill Self is overrated as a coach, and I think the NIL era and transfer portal era is showing that and flying colors. Last year it was very easy to see, well, at least for me, that team was not put together well. He went out and just got names and thought that was what he needed and was arrogant enough to think he was a good enough coach to fix that. Did not happen. Like they were bad, real bad compared to expectations. Now, like I'm not saying they're bad, like should be playing in the Southwest Conference or whatever, but they were very disappointing, and I think we're looking at something similar here. They return 8% of the minutes. That's nothing, really. Like not sure why, but. I mean, Peterson is one of the least talked about number one overall players, like for a recruiting class that I can remember in a long time. The guy is a stud. He's probably league ready today, and I don't know why he's not being talked about. Like the 3-point shot isn't falling, but every time you see him shoot, it looks good. So yep. I think that's very correctable. The rest of the class is nothing flashy. The portal was okay. Like he rated the Missouri Valley. I think Melvin Colvin Jr. was a good get, and Jaden Dawson also a good get out of Loyola Chicago. But neither of those guys are great shooters. There's not a real shooter on this Kansas team. That was part of the issue last year. Both of those two guys I just mentioned shot below 35%. I think Council was 29% from three. It's not great. And then I don't understand why the Trey White move. I don't get that one either, because he was okay at Illinois. I mean, he averaged 10 points and 5 boards, but once again was around 30-ish% from deep, so nothing great. But he had a negative assist to turnover ratio, so like on a team, I don't know where he's gonna fit in. I don't know if Self thinks he's a jump shot wizard or thinks he has one on staff, but he's gonna need one to get them out of this pretender role. Like Floyd Bedinga, good rim runner and protector, but I don't know how he's going to fit in that offense. He wasn't extremely offensively talented, just a very tall, very good athlete. I think he will be something someday, and you'll probably see that in the NBA more than you will in college. But man, I don't know. With the shooters he brought in, they shot not great percentages in a much weaker conference, especially when you're looking at teams like Iowa State, Texas Tech, Houston that play that just nasty defense. I think we could be looking at the beginning of the downfall of Bill Self at Kansas, even though he's got a pair of titles. I've always thought there was something dirty going on out there. Like you had I forget his name, that got in a wreck with somebody and left the scene of an accident, and that somehow got covered up until after the next couple big games. You had guys not getting suspended for getting in that fight at Kansas State.
Yeah,
there's a lot of, I don't know that he was cheating, but there was a lot of stuff that got brushed under the rug or got people getting suspended for like Nobody State and Plant University instead of the games that should have been suspended for. I think we're starting to see that and the downfall of Bill Self.
I'm going to go a step further. This is Bill Self's last season. This is it.
He's got a couple titles. He's earned some chances.
No, they won't let him go. He'll leave. No, I think he's realizing that he can't. I mean, I don't know if it's my respect for Rick Barnes. And yes, everybody, I'm a Tennessee fan. You know, like he has made himself and inserted himself into a relevant position, and he's never been more relevant in the game of basketball since Kevin Durant, and that's obviously talked about a ton around here. But he did have some great years at Texas, no doubt about it. But the dude is relevant. Kids are wanting to come play for Rick Barnes, the Deacon. They want to come play for this guy. Players aren't wanting to go play for Bill Self anymore.
Yeah.
The sex appeal, of Kansas, the allure of Kansas has dulled. It's a pale version of what it used to be, and that sucks. As a basketball purist and a lover of the game, I hate it. But that's why Bill Self needs to be it. He needs to go out. He needs to in on it. He needs to go join Fox Sports. Whatever he wants to go do it. I would like for him to step away. I think that would be best for the game for him to do that. But I think this is his last year, but it's going to be out of his own will. They're not going to fire him. I think this is going to be it.
That's a shocking call because I don't see that happening.
Last year, again, he had the names. He had the Sports Center capability to have the highlight reel.
I'm not saying like he's a good enough coach. I'm just saying I think he's a little more full of himself, and he's not letting it. He's not going to be honest and shoulder that blame.
Well, Jay Wright left.
Yeah.
Jay Wright left.
Well, Jay Wright is one of the brightest basketball minds in the world, and he saw where it was going, and he didn't want to deal with it. Same thing, Tony Bennett. He said, like, I don't want to play in this way this is going in the NIL era. I'm not dealing with this. I've made my money. I won a championship. I'll go home.
But the Tom Izzo's and the Rick Barnes have made themselves continue to be relevant.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's super impressive. Like, I'm not. Yeah.
I feel like others. I just feel like for a Kansas to see when Tom Izzo and Rick Barnes are having these kinds of seasons and this kind of success and support, but then you've got Bill Self, who is kind of, I feel like even just watching him on the sideline, he doesn't have the same charisma, he doesn't have the same fluidity. I feel like his game management has slacked. It's like he's not adapted with the game, and I think that's where his arrogance you mentioned before, which I used to kind of respect and love about the guy, but it's now, I feel like it's gotten in his own way, and I think it's led to it's opened the door for him to walk out of the league.
Now, we are talking about a guy who won a championship in the last 5 years.
For sure.
But if you look at the last, if you go back to 2018-19, he is out in the second round or before, except for the year that he won the championship. But before that, and that's when, like, NIL and all the transfer portal starts coming up. Like, I don't know that the guy, I don't know if, I haven't paid close enough attention to this tab. I don't know if he lost his main talent evaluator or whatever, but I don't know that they have that anymore. I don't know that he's that guy anymore that can figure out the talent and put it together. And I just don't think he sees it yet, because he's also been playing in a Big 12 where he just ran the table with almost every year. Well, now you've added in Houston and Arizona and BYU, who are very, like, BYU not so much, but are very powerhouse basketball schools. And you have Iowa State, who's coming up. Like, the rest of the Big 12, that level of the Big 12 is catching up to him. And I don't know that, like you said, the Kansas name doesn't have the same allure that it used to. It's really come about in the last, like, even with the championship they won. I mean, the COVID year, you could argue that was another championship or Final Four appearance he would have had. You don't know, like, because it never got played. It's round of 32, championship, round of 32, round of 32, round of 64. You know they weren't carrying a double-digit seed there. I don't have all the seeds written down, but
right.
You know it wasn't double-digit seeds there. Like, so every time they're getting beat is an upset.
So I think part of the issue here, and we'll finish up here with Kansas, but one of the things is that in my past and working in a college basketball program, there's been, from a coach who really respects Bill Self a lot, and we watched and we learned a lot from Bill Self for those years, but the teams that I've been watching over the past couple of years, it is not the same. I'm telling you, I understand the talent perspective that might be reviewed differently, but there's a schematic, there's a evolution of the game issue here, and I think that there's enough of a Kansas booster platform and the proud Jayhawks that are out there also know a lot about the game. They're hard to please, and I think there's be a lot of chirping, and I think that I don't know that he has enough. I don't know if Bill Self has it in him to block that out completely.
We will see. Could be funny if he followed Roy Williams' path and went to North Carolina, because Hubert gets the boot.
God, that would be nuts.
But the rest, like, the only other pretender level team I have is Texas Tech. Like, I loved Atwell.
Yeah.
Adding them to Toppin.
Yeah.
Grant McCaslin is one of my favorite, like, newer coaches. I just don't think it's quite there yet to get him up to that next level, but it would not shock me if he coached him up and got him to the Elite Eight. It wouldn't shock me one bit, because he very well came close to doing it last year. Or did they make it to the Eight? They were in the second weekend, and it was overtime, and they won the overtime game, and I think lost the next one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Where that fell. You know, they're fantastic. He's a fantastic coach. He was great at North Texas. Loved him there. Was a big fan of that team, and he's bringing the same style, same everything to Texas Tech. And I think it won't be long before we're talking about Texas Tech in the upper echelon of, like, year in, year out. Like, here's a team you got to watch out for.
Totally.
There's a ton of money out there, so money's not going to be an issue. So NIL won't be a thing.
It's a hard place to play at.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, as an opponent, I mean, I think you said that earlier, I believe.
Yeah, it's hard to get to Lubbock. It's just hard to get there.
Yeah, what did Tommy Tuberville say about Lubbock? That it was like playing football in Iraq or something like that. Like, yeah, I know it's way out there, But I think for them, they're going to be one of those teams that are going to upset
Oh, yeah.
maybe 2 to 3 teams this year. But then they're going to lose boneheaded games, and I mean that's part of a
It's part of growing.
yeah, it's a culture shift.
Yeah.
I'm not making excuses. I mean, if I'm Texas Tech, I'm still having a high expectation of like you want to go out there and contend for at least a Big 12 title.
Hey, to have a coach leave you after a national championship run and bounce back as good as they have is impressive, because a lot of times it
Absolutely.
seems like that leaving wasn't expected, and there he goes for a rival, and
That's a good athletic department.
they found the next guy, put him in. There's a lot of teams that can't find the next guy that quick. We've talked about Tennessee enough, but like we struggled in basketball and football for a while when like we had coaches leave us and we weren't expected to. So like having the athletic department to find the right guy, put him in the spot, it's impressive, and I think they made the right hire. He seems to be a Texas guy, so I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon. So I think they've got a guy for a long time, and is
Yeah.
going to be in Texas.
Well,
Tech
hell-
to be a basketball powerhouse here soon.
Hell, the New York Knicks, they couldn't hire a coach. They couldn't find anybody to hire. I mean, and they got their guy, and I'm with you. I think he's got huge upsides and be there for a while. I think he's a top performer. I don't even know if I would consider him an up and coming coach. I think he's one of those guys that like the kind of the old guard
Yeah.
respects that guy. Like
Yeah.
they know what he does, and they know he's coming. I mean,
And he put his time in at North Texas. Like he was waiting. He was waiting for the opportunity and hopped on it as soon as he got it.
sure, I don't blame him. As we kind of wrap up the Big 12 preview, are there any teams that are just right there in the bubble for making the tournament that maybe?
I think that's the majority of the Big 12, right? Like anybody.
I know. I tried to pick out.
Is there because the way I did mine is like I did our like the top tier, the chosen ones, that I had the pretenders, and then I went straight to CBI with Colorado, UCF, and Arizona State, and then everybody else is in the bubble range. Like, could they make the tournament? Yes. Could they not? Yes. And I wouldn't be surprised either way. I don't see too many second weekend teams there. See a ton of first round. Would shock me if they all won their first game and lost the second one. Like it's
Right.
or just missed the tournament. So I think that is a very crowded, and that's what makes this conference good. You've got a very crowded bubble area, and they're going to be fighting year in year out. You're not going to have anybody calling it quits and early, and then like cakewalks, except for like Colorado. I don't know what's
Dude.
going on. It feels like all their attention is on football, and they've just dropped basketball. They've got a decent coach. I forget his name, but he can't get the talent in to Colorado, and when he does, he seems to squander it. So I don't know what's happening.
Have you ever been to Boulder, Colorado?
Yeah, I love it.
It's awesome.
It's a beautiful place.
Like, why would you not want to go there? And there's plenty of money.
Yeah.
I've never, like, after going there, I'm like, this would be a dream for any kid to come out here. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of benefits of living in Colorado, if you catch my drift. And there's also a lot of benefits of being in a town like Boulder. And it's a crying shame that they're not more respected, and they don't have enough money to be able to make themselves relevant.
Yeah, and then like my heart breaks because I want more for Johnny Dawkins, but I don't know what he's doing at UCF. He had the team. It's like that Zion Williamson team stole his soul, and he thought he was going to get the Shire's job, and he didn't get it.
Yep.
I think he's just lost. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, because that's another school that shouldn't have to leave an hour drive to come up with good talent, and because of where they
Total.
are, and they've got money because it's a huge university. Like he brought in the Mikey Williams kid, who was a very highly rated recruit, got in trouble at Memphis. Speaking of
Yeah.
that, and then sat out a year and was very disappointing the year he came back. Like it's almost like there's a pattern at Memphis for getting these high level recruits that get in trouble and leave. Amoni Bates and Wiseman, but
Interesting.
That's in the
Wonder
first-
why that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
But
If you want to know the answer, check back about earlier in this podcast, and we'll cover all of that.
yeah, but I don't know. He's dropping the ball there. And then Arizona State, like one of our first episodes, I went in on Bobby Hurley. Don't really need to repeat all of that, but I think his heat should be on like as hot as you can possibly have it, like California wildfire hot. And he's not got. He didn't replace the talent. He lost his best player to Kentucky.
Yeah.
I know he was hurt last year, so he doesn't have that. Like he doesn't have that excuse in the bag. I think they are going to get trounced by a lot of people in this Big 12, and it's going to be a very, very not nice exit for him.
No.
There'll be a lot of go and get, but yeah, I think you've got some trash there with Colorado, UCF, and Arizona State that shouldn't really even make any tournament.
Yeah.
One crowded middle and a few teams in pretenders and three teams in the chosen ones.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And West Virginia is another one of those. Could be. I think I could say. I think I could label them as being a bubble boy.
I think I should have knocked them down. I forgot about the whole coaching weirdness.
I know, but at the same time, West Virginia bounces back from weird stuff.
Yeah,
Like they're a resilient school. Like I feel like they got Rich Rod back. Their football team's excited.
Who was that basketball coach that when they had that lethal run, he had the drinking problem?
Bob Higgins?
Yeah, Huggins. Yeah, yep.
Huggins. Yeah.
Yep. They were incredible for that run, and so much fun. And then he gets busted up with drinking and stuff.
He's an interesting cat. Yeah. I'll have to tell you a story off air of that. The Bob Huggins story. Well, if he ever comes back down to this end of the bench, which we all expect him to be, we'll have to have the conversation. So does that conclude our Big 10 or Big 12? Sorry, Sam. The Big 12 preview.
Yeah, I don't have anything additional there.
I'm not excited about Big 12.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be
I think there's a lot of appeal here. I'm hoping that people that listen to this, especially those in the South and Midwest that may be kind of not really thinking about the Big 12, but listen, there's some good ball here. Catch that 9 p.m. game when you've got a few beers in you after watching the primetime games, and listen, they'll be that much better. And if you have 2 more beers after that, it'll be great. So just know that there's an opportunity there for games to go through the whole night. There's some good stuff out there.
Well, we don't get Pac-12 after dark, so somebody's got to do it now.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's the Big 12's job.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the ACC kind of does it with Cal and Stanford, but whatever.
I think I'd rather watch the Big 12.
Yeah.
To be really honest.
Keeps it bound.
As we kind of wrap things up here, Jake, do you want to do a quick plug on the Portal King Challenge and what we talked about last week?
Yeah, I think this will be a lot of fun. We can work the punishment and all that, because that's the more fun part, is watching somebody be punished for doing something.
What should our punishment be? Call in.
Yeah. Comment. Let us know if you don't like it, because right now we're just gonna sit them in a press conference kind of scenario and just pepper them with all these questions like, why were you so bad at basketball? But follow us on the socials. All the scoring's there. Our picks are out there. Just comment if somebody that you think we left out that should have been there. If enough comments, I'll take them as votes, and we'll have the audience kind of. If they beat us, then all 3 of us got to do something crazy.
That's right. Yeah. Tell us where we're getting wrong. Again, we're on the bench for a reason. We try not to be overachievers, so where we make it in the starting 5 because we enjoy our place on the bench. But there are people like Sam that tend to overachieve. But we're looking forward to having him back next week. And we had to hate to say bad will on this guy, but we all know that he belongs on the bench. And but that covers the Big 12 and gives a quick rundown of the Portal King Challenge. Be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel, but also all of our socials. And engage with us. Tell us what we did wrong. We've heard it before. Coach tells us all the time. So anyway, now I just heard the buzzer. I think it's our chance to get in on the floor and get in some trash time and be the human victory cigars that we were born to be. Hope everyone has a great week. Let's get in there. And if you made it this far, you're already part of the bench mob. So hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more chaos. Bench Points is on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you pretend to know ball.